Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. Today, we are exploring the ins, the outs, and gotchas of getting those microbe gains. And yes, I do understand that microbe gains isn't a phrase that you hear too often.
What did you say?
But you guys already know. We love the odd and weird longevity topics up in here. And it seems like not a day can go by without a discovery of a new gut insert bodily system here access being identified, strengthening the argument that those trillions of microorganisms that call our insides home have a direct or indirect impact on basically every single biological system and cellular function that's going on in our pretty cool meat suit. And thus, we're here today to discuss the gut-muscle axis, or the dynamic between our gut buddies and our body's ability to build and maintain the so important use it or lose it skeletal tissue called muscle. I mean, we know microbes do a lot of things, but to be honest, I never envisioned a muscle beach-like vibe down in the confines of our intestinal tubing. But apparently, a lack of sun ain't stopping these little guys from getting their pump on. Well, influencing ours, at least. Wish I could say the same about you, production team. Haven't seen a gym in months. So in the next 12 minutes and 14 seconds, we'll be diving into a sweat-inducing mental pump that reviews what we currently know about the microbe-muscle connection, how gut dysfunction or dysbiosis impacts those gains, some new animal research that aims to tease out that very question, and some mind in the muscle, I mean gut in the muscle strategies to think about to max out the longevity benefits. Oh, and the research happened to look into the most self-conscious muscle on every guy's body, the calf. It's almost like science was trying to send a message to the fitness bro community. Not gonna lie, science, that's low. Funny, but low. First, muscle and the gut. What we know, sorta. What we sorta know. Yeah, that's better. Here's the thing. This is a relatively new area of exploration. The microbiome as a whole, as well as all of its sub-connections, like its influence on muscle. So the majority of data available to date, especially the research that performs full tissue analysis, is animal data. And that means we need to put the obvious disclaimer on it. Mice do not equal humans. What happens in mice does not necessarily happen in humans. Take everything, especially animal data, grain of salt. Cool? Good talk. Now, with that being said, there have been a number of recent studies that demonstrate a positive role of the gut microbiome on the maintenance of skeletal muscle mass. Here are a few interesting findings thus far. One study that compared germ-free mice, meaning they have zero gut bacteria, to normal mice, found that the muscle mass to body weight ratio was initially lower in the germ-free mice. But when they colonized these germ-free mice's microbiome with fecal samples from the normal control mice, their muscle mass to body weight ratio was restored to normal levels. And that right there is another reason a lot of this data is in mice. No human comes germ-free. I mean, there was the bubble boy, but no human except him. And he wasn't even germ-free. His parents were just, whoo. There's also the ethical line that cannot be crossed by intentionally depleting the microbiome of a human. And speaking of microbiome depleted activities, another study found that when treated with antibiotics, young mice's muscle mass was reduced without a corresponding change in body weight. This obviously resulted in a decrease of the muscle mass to body weight ratio. And interestingly enough, this was able to be reversed too. The ratios returned to baseline following a natural microbiota reseeding in the antibiotic-treated mice. You know what? I wonder if this has anything to do with the species of microbes, because there are 300 to 1,000 different species in the average human's gut. What? Oh, there is? Yep. Thus far, a few species have stood out. As of now, several Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium subspecies have shown to positively increase the muscle mass to body weight ratio without affecting body weight. Okay. So what exactly is going on here? Is it just good microbes, good vibes, or is something else at the bottom of this poop party? I don't know if we want to go to that party, actually. I'm sure they exist, unfortunately. Oh boy. Cut that part out. Well, preliminary research shows that short-chain fatty acids, a common metabolite from certain species of beneficial bacteria, may be playing a role. These are the byproduct of gut microbe interaction or fermentation on their favorite food, dietary fiber, which we talk all about right here. And the research is pretty interesting. Short-chain fatty acids have been shown to influence lipid, carbohydrate, and protein metabolism in skeletal muscle tissue, both in vitro and in vivo, also showing the potential to help increase skeletal muscle mass retention, blood flow, insulin sensitivity, and preserve an oxidative phenotype. Data has shown that the muscle mass to body weight ratio has increased in young germ-free mice fed a mixture of the short-chain fatty acids, acetate, propionate, and butyrate when compared to the non-short-chain fatty acid fed germ-free controls. Collectively, these studies suggest that increasing gut bacterial short-chain fatty acid production positively affects skeletal muscle and physical function in animals, and potentially humans. Pretty awesome, right? But how do you increase short-chain fatty acid production and muscle growth? Well, there's kind of a simple equation. Eat more dietary fiber, eat more protein, work out. First, we've known for a long while that acetate, propionate, and butyrate production are increased following fiber fermentation from gut bacteria. And interestingly, animal data has shown that when compared to consumption of a high fiber diet, a low fiber diet reduced muscle mass without altering body weight in young mice, along with decreasing their treadmill endurance capacity. And in the limited human data that we have, there has been a positive association between dietary fiber intake and hand grip strength, as well as overall physical functioning in older adults. Data also suggests that exercise is linked to an increase of beneficial microbial species and microbe diversity, very possibly creating an environment for those good short-chain fatty acid producing bacteria to prosper. But quite frankly, we just do not have the data to support anything conclusive here yet. There just haven't been published studies aimed at increasing dietary fiber intake, quantifying fecal short-chain fatty acids, and examining the resulting effects on skeletal muscle and physical function. If you're like a PhD, call me and we'll do the study, we'll figure it out. So we'll have to wait and see for more conclusive evidence, especially in humans. All that being said, we can't forget the key ingredient that goes into building our lean tissue: protein. So make sure you get it in. 0.5 to 0.9 grams per pound of body weight seems to be the sweet spot, and you need to adjust according to your goals. Mix this with 30 to 40 grams of dietary fiber from real whole food, and you just may be onto something. And if you're looking for a few more considerations to noodle on while crafting your longevity protocol around building and maintaining muscle mass, check out this video here. With that, and before we get into this new data, here's a quick yet important word on gut dysbiosis. Unbalanced gut, unbalanced health. Here's the thing. The bacterial communities that make up our unique microbiome are ever-changing, constantly adapting, and influenced by a plethora of different factors, from food to environment, movement and sleep, medications, and even when we eat, which we cover in depth here. But when we provide the right inputs, a symbiotic relationship is formed. When we nurture our microbes, they return the favor, releasing beneficial metabolites that benefit their host. Like, let me see, short-chain fatty acids, strengthening the gut wall and protecting us from nefarious invaders. That's why I like to spread the good word of people helping microbes helping people. But when we don't put our microbes in a position to win, which is a category that the majority of the Western population fits into, we fall into the traps of modern societal norms. Processed food, deprived sleep, no exercise, and toxins galore. And a state of dysbiosis or unbalance ensues, bringing along a laundry list of side effects, including digestive issues, autoimmune conditions, chronic inflammation, brain fog, and, dare I say, impaired gains. Whoa. Thus, nurturing a beneficial population of microbes down there is probably not only advantageous for your gains, but present-day health and long-term longevity. It's all connected. So help your microbes help you, okay? Cool. Time for the new data. Let's take a gander. The new data. Researchers from the University of Kentucky, Nebraska, and Auburn teamed up to test out the hypothesis that the gut microbiome is required for skeletal muscle adaptations to exercise. They did this by building a mouse model where mice were treated with or without antibiotics over a 9-week progressive weighted wheel running protocol, a protocol that has previously shown to induce hypertrophy and a fiber type shift to a more oxidative phenotype in mice, which in my eyes is just a protocol that simulates progressive overload in humans, just with a wheel and little mice. Probably pretty cute. The mice were randomly assigned to one of 4 groups: a non-exercise, non-antibiotic, a exercise, non-antibiotic, a non-exercise antibiotic, and a exercise antibiotic. Now, it's important to know here that these antibiotics were used specifically to induce a state of dysbiosis in the guts of the mice. And this dysbiosis has actually shown to be a common side effect of antibiotic overuse in humans as well. And we actually cover that in depth right here. Despite the same exercise stimulus, antibiotic-treated mice had a blunted hypertrophic response and fiber shift compared to the untreated controls. The exercised antibiotic mice also showed less hypertrophy in both slow twitch and fast twitch fibers in the soleus or calf, as well as in the fast twitch muscles in the plantaris, when compared to the exercise untreated no antibiotic group. The researchers also observed a fiber type shift in the plantaris muscle to more of an oxidative fiber composition following exercise for the untreated group that was visibly blunted in the antibiotic groups. Some other interesting info here: there was also no differences in serum cytokine levels among all the groups, suggesting that the disruption of the microbiome did not induce systemic inflammation, which was interesting because that means something else was at play here rather than the nefarious actions of chronic inflammation, which is commonly tightly associated with gut dysbiosis. So what do they think was accounting for the change? Any guesses? Authors concluded that this was the first evidence, because you know scientists love reminding people who's first, showing that an intact gut microbiome is required for skeletal muscle adaptation to exercise, and that disruption to the gut microbiome impairs skeletal muscle adaptation to exercise. And at the end, they suggested the exciting possibility that microbe-derived metabolites have an important role in skeletal muscle plasticity. Geez, do we know any microbe-derived metabolites? Anyone? Bueller? Short-chain fatty acids? I don't know. Just a thought. So what does this tell us, and what should you consider? First, the obvious. It tells us that all of this happens in mice, not humans. Remember that. Not to say it doesn't happen in humans, but it has been shown and proven in mice. We need to get Bubble Boy to do some germ-free experiments. But it also reiterates what we already know, that our microbes wield some great power, having influence on all of our key biological system, and thus, by association, our longevity goals. So help them help you. Get good sleep, eat real food, dietary fiber, high quality protein, healthy fats, and micronutrients. Assess and mitigate the environmental toxins, the harsh household chemicals, the cleaning supplies, the fragrances, the body care items. All of this can impact their populations. Limit the antibiotics to only when you need them, especially the broad spectrum antibiotics. Get outside and expand your microdiversity. And don't forget to move that badonkadonk. Repeat daily and you will be maximizing your pretty cool meat suit at a whole nother level. And when in doubt, remember that thing that they never taught you in science class growing up. Happy microbes equals happy humans. Wait, what? That doesn't even make sense.